today I'm going to try to draw this little lantern thing on Jeju Island in South Korea, because apparently after that temple I drew yesterday, I just couldn't get enough of this type of shape. I don't know why, because we all saw how the temple turned out. But let's stay optimistic for now, shall we? Let's see where this one goes. Right off the bat, I want to talk about the brightness of the paper. That probably sounds silly and maybe a little irrelevant, but it's something I've noticed, so surely you have as well. It's too bright, way too bright. You can't make out a lot of what I'm drawing in the beginning, and that comes down to two things. First, these light lines that I'm starting with, which is a confidence thing, and I'll touch on that a little bit later. And the uncontrollable conditions that just come with recording outside. I do have a little control in post. I can tweak the overall exposure, mess with the highlights and whatnot, the whites, whatever. But that can only do so much. At the end of the day, honestly, I'm just at the mercy of the sun. If and when it emerges from behind the clouds, the paper being the whitest part of frame, it just soaks up all of that light and reflects it back. And the light lines that I'm drawing, they really just don't stand a chance. I can't always draw in the shade, because when I pick a subject, that's pretty much where I have to draw it. Well, okay, now that you see where I'm headed in the drawing, I'll just say this. I've not been all that conscious of where I'm setting up to draw, like where I'm actually positioned to draw, relative to where I take the video on the left side, where I set the tripod up initially. And I do, this is funny, I do set up the tripod for the left side video first, which seems counterintuitive. You would think I would maybe draw it first, because then the left side I have all the time in the world to film it. But I actually found, I did a lot of testing before starting the channel, and I found that I would rather the video on the left have nice conditions, or, you know, making sure a car didn't drive up in the middle of the scene. Not this one, obviously. But it was important to get the left side, because the right side is just me. So I can be there, and even if there's now a car in the way, I still have some idea of what to do. Anyway, you can see what I'm doing on the page, and that's because I set the tripod up at about chest height for the left side video, which means nothing to you because you don't know how tall I am. But then I pulled over a chair. And then I sat down, which obviously altered my perspective, actually pretty dramatically, because I was only about 5 or 6 feet away from this little light. So from standing to sitting, it's quite a different, it's quite a shift. I learned from yesterday's drawing that I should probably have some idea of how to begin, like which part of the drawing I'd like to start, how much of certain elements should take up how much of the page. So I decided to loosely sketch this one out beforehand, and I did it directly behind the tripod, which meant that I was standing up. I was preparing to draw this thing from that perspective, so I saw it kind of the way that you're seeing it now, and actually maybe a little bit, well, definitely chest to eye height difference. So I saw quite a bit of the top. So each of these little lines that I'm drawing right now, in my head, they had a little bit more dimensionality to them. I could see the top of them a little bit better. Now, from this seated perspective, I actually, and I didn't realize this at this moment, not yet at least, I could see under the the top of this lantern. But in my head, I still had the image of from the top. And so all of these lines that I assumed I would be able to see the top of, I now don't. They just end up being lines. And if anything, I should be able to see a little bit of the bottom. So this drawing is ending up as sort of an amalgamation of what I shot on video for the left and what I could see through my eyes on the right. I still think that doing the little loose sketches in the beginning in a tiny little sketchbook I carry with me, I still think that's a good idea because I really like having some concept of where I'll start, but not locking myself into that is the way that I'll go from now. What I see is definitely what I should be drawing. And if that's a lot different from the sketches, then so be it. One thing you'll see in this drawing and previous drawings, but maybe especially this one, is I don't have very much confidence when it comes to my lines. Right now, you can't really tell because they're just hatch marks. But drawing the actual lantern itself, I don't really know where to begin. I don't know how long lines are, and so I'm pulling back quite a bit, and that's something obviously, like everything else, sound like a broken record, I would like to get better at. But that in particular is something. Correct me if I'm wrong, if you know, but that's something I feel like should come the soonest. I think that having some confidence in where I'm putting the lines will make the drawings look more intentional. Right now, this one definitely doesn't feel intentional. It feels like I'm confused. It feels like I don't know exactly where to shade. Even now, you can see like the shading wouldn't exactly match the perspective of my head versus my eye. But yeah, I would love to get a little bit more confident. And on that note, obviously that comes with having confidence in the perspective that I'm drawing and shapes and all that. And so that being said, do people still do that thing where they hold out their pen or pencil or whatever utensil to measure things? I don't even know how to put it into words, but it's in like TV and movies all the time where some artist with a big hat and an easel will hold their utensil out at arm's length and probably close one eye or something. And they'll somehow measure what they're looking at, and that gives them an idea of what to put on the page. What is that? What is that called? What exactly are they doing? And is that something you do for just big things in the distance? Or can you do that for anything? Can you do it for small things like this? Like I said, I was 5 or 6 feet away. This thing was less than a foot tall. Is that something I could have used here? If so, please let me know. I'd be really interested to know why people do that, and or not why, how that works. Also, like I mentioned yesterday, inevitably some of these scenes will be less dynamic if I'm ever going to learn. I just didn't expect to jump into one like that so quickly. I was, I talked about the tangerine being maybe not all that interesting of a subject. And then, ironically enough, I jump right into this inorganic, lantern. I don't know why. I think actually the selection process is, for now, kind of out of my control. Um, I think I'm just walking around and certain things call attention to themselves and certain things don't. And I guess this one did for today. But there we go. I hate it. I'm gonna hate them for a while. This one especially is bad for all the reasons I laid out. You can really see the the crazy perspective right in the middle of the lantern. At the top, it's not so bad. You get to where the little windows are, and it's a little more confusing. And then once you reach all those lines in the middle, it's like it's a slinky, almost bouncing, arching away from me. Um, so yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say about this one. I hope you enjoyed the video. Um, I really appreciate you taking the time. If you learned anything from this, I'd be incredibly surprised. But if so, you're doing it along with me. So yeah, I appreciate you watching the video. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you tomorrow.